Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will continue to making this video until the end of the video in this place, in this crowd, in this crowded and public place, because I think if I continue in my house right now, I will not be focused on making the video, and I decided to all in on the assignments, and I will be uh, making all the requirements of the assignments, which is 10 minutes, 8 10 minutes video of us reading English texts for practicing how to pronounce and practicing how to actually say words in English. Okay, let me continue on the no no no. Let me continue on the next chapter of this book. Okay. Recipe for a screw up. Lorna Jones was winning the women's 100-meter hurdles race on her way to a gold medal at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In the lead, she was clearing the hurdles with an effortless rhythm until something went wrong. At first, it was very subtle. She had a sense that the hurdles were coming at her too fast. With that, Jones had the Jones. Oh, no, 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 it's Jones. Let me repeat that again from the beginning. Lolo Jones was winning the women's 100-meter hurdles race on her way to a gold medal at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In the lead, she was clearing the hurdles with an effortless rhythm until something went wrong. At first, it was very subtle. She had a sense that the hurdles were coming at her too fast. With that, Jones had the thought, make sure you don't get sloppy in your technique. Make sure your legs are snapping out. With those thoughts, she overtried, tightening up a bit too much and hit the ninth hurdle of 10. Jones finished seventh, not first, and collapsed on the track in tears. Looking back, as she was about to try again at the 2012 London Olympics, where she eventually finished fourth in the 100-meter race, Jones could recall that earlier moment of defeat with Jones could recall that earlier moment of defeat with crystal clarity. And if you ask neuroscientists, they could diagnose the error with equal certainty. When she began to think about the details of her technique, instead of just leaving the job to the monitor, instead of just leaving the job to the monitor, instead of just leaving the job to the motor circuits that had practiced these moves to mastery, Jones had shifted from relying on her bottom-up system to interference from the top. Brain studies find that having a champion athlete start pondering technique during a performance offers a sure recipe for screw up. When top soccer players raced a ball round and through a line of traffic cones and had to notice which side of their foot was controlling the ball, they made more errors. The same happened when baseball players tried to track whether their bat was moving up or down during a swing for a pitched ball. The motor cortex, which in a well-seasoned athlete has these moves deeply etched in its circuits from thousands of hours of practices, operates best when left alone. When the prefrontal cortex activates and we start thinking about how we're doing, how to do what we're doing, or worse, what not to do, the brain gives over some control to circuits that know how to think and worry, but not how to deliver the move itself. Whether in the 100 meters, soccer, or baseball, it's a universal recipe for tripping up. That is why as Rick Aberman, who directs peak performances for the Minnesota Twins baseball team, tells me, when the coach reviews plays from a game and only focuses on what not to do next time, it's a recipe for players to choke. It is not just in sports. Making love comes to mind as another activity where getting too analytic and self-critical gets in the way. A journal article on the ironic effects of trying to relax under stress suggests still another. relaxation, and making love go best when we just let them happen, not try to force them. The parasympathetic nervous system, which kicks in during these activities, ordinarily acts independently of our brain's executive, which thinks about them. Edgar Allan Poe dubbed the unfortunate mental tendency to bring up some sensitive topic you resolved not to mention, the imp of the perverse. An article fittingly called How to Think, Say, or Do Precisely the Worst Thing for Any Occasion by Harvard psychologist Daniel Wegner explains the cognitive mechanism that animates that imp. Flaps, Wegner has found, escalate to the degree we are distracted, stressed, or otherwise mentally burdened. In those circumstances, a cognitive control system that ordinarily monitors errors we might make, like don't mention that topic, can inadvertently act as a mental prime, increasing the likelihood of that very mistake, like mentioning that topic. When Wegner has had experimental volunteers try not to think of a particular word, when they then are pressured to respond quickly to a word association task, ironically, they often offer up that same forbidden word. Overloading attention strings mental control. It is in the moments we feel most stressed that we forget the names of people we know well, not to mention their birthdays or our anniversary. It's in the moments we feel most stressed that we forget the names of people we know well, not to mention their birthdays, our anniversaries, and other socially crucial data. Another example, obesity. Researchers find that the prevalence of obesity in the United States over the last 30 years tracks the explosion of computers and tech gadgets in people's lives, and suspect this is no accidental correlation. Life immersed in digital distractions creates a near constant cognitive overload. Let me repeat that again. Life immersed in digital distractions creates a near constant. Life immersed in digital distractions. Life immersed in digital distractions creates a near constant cognitive overload, and that overload wears out self-control. Forget that resolve to diet. Lost in the digital world, we mindlessly reach for the Pringles. Now, I don't know what is the subchapter of this is, but I think it's the third or the fourth subchapter of the second chapter. The bottom-up skew. The bottom-up skew. The bottom-up skew. A survey of psychologists asked them if there might be one nagging thing that they didn't understand about themselves. One said that for 2 decades he had studied how gloomy weather makes one's whole life look bleak. I am switching to American accent because I think if using British too long, I feel exhausted, especially in my mouth and my tongue. But that even though he understood all of that, gloomy skies still made him feel bad. Another was puzzled by his compulsion to write papers that show some research in badly misguided, and how he continues to do so even though none of the relevant researchers has paid much attention. And a third said that though he had studied male sexual overperception bias, the misinterpretation of a woman's friendliness as romantic interest, he still succumbs to the bias. The bottom-up secretary learns voraciously and quietly, taking in lessons continually as we go through the day. Such implicit learning need never enter our awareness, though it acts as a role in life nonetheless, for better or for worse. The automatic system works well most of the time. We know what's going on and what to do and can meander through the demands the demands the demands of the day well enough while we think about other things. But this system has weakness too. Our emotions and our motives create skews and biases in our attention that we typically don't notice and don't notice that we don't notice. Take social anxiety. In general, anxious people fixate on anything even vaguely threatening. Those with social anxiety compulsively spot the least sign of rejection, such a fleeting expression of disgust on someone's face, a reflection of their habitual assumption that they will be social flops. Most of this emotional transaction most of this emotional transaction goes on out of awareness, leading people to avoid situations where they might get anxious. An ingenious method for remedying. Oh yeah, remedying. An ingenious An ingenious method for remedying this bottom up skew is so subtle that people have no idea that their attention patterns are being rewired, just as they had no idea that wiring was going on as they acquired in the first place. Called cognitive bias modification or CBM, this invisible therapy has those suffering from severe social anxiety look at photos of an audience while they are asked to track when flashing patterns of lights appear and press a button as quickly as they can. Let me repeat that again. Called cognitive bias modification or CBM, this invisible therapy has those suffering from severe social anxiety look at photos of an audience while they are asked to track when flashing patterns of lights appear and press a button as quickly as they can. I think this is the end of the sixth video, and I will continue after this. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.